soon as you hear about the new order that the judge who was about to sentence Hunter Biden for tax evasion issued, excoriating President Biden and calling his pardons potentially unconstitutional while begrudgingly accepting it to cancel his sentencing, you'll know exactly why Joe Biden did exactly the right thing at the right time, as Hunter Biden faced sentencing in not one but two criminal cases that he was convicted of. One related to gun possession by someone who was a drug user in Delaware, and this Judge Scarsi, who just issued an order in California, who thinks he's God, and maybe he's the president of the United States, and obviously was prepared to throw the book at Hunter Biden to do the exact thing that Joe Biden was afraid of, to make his son an example and to treat him differently because his last name is Biden. I'm Michael Popok. You're on the Legal AF YouTube channel, and I'm sitting at the intersection of law, politics, pardons, and justice to examine Judge Scarsi's new order, where he, I think, accepted the pardon and canceled the sentencing, but not before getting his pound of flesh to go after Joe Biden and to attack Hunter Biden to boot. Which, again, as I said, only reinforces this was a good decision by Joe Biden to do it. It's about time the Democrats start playing rough, start throwing a couple of elbows, start bringing guns to knife fights and not the other way around. I'm tired of the Democrats getting outplayed, outmatched, outmuscled by the Republicans because they're willing to go to depths and lengths that we aren't. We need to start going to depths and lengths. Starting with this, get off the high horse about, oh, he pardoned his son. Yes, and when I tell you about Judge Scarsi's order right now, you're going to see that he avoided a disaster that was not of Hunter Biden's making, not the guy that was circling the drain of a drug addiction. Here's what we got from Scarsi, and where he begrudgingly, but not really, accepts the pardon. First of all, let me explain something. Joe Biden did not have an obligation of the Constitution to write a memo to support his pardon. He could have just pardoned. That's what Trump's going to do. And we're not going to have a memo to look at. But Joe Biden's a decent guy who wanted to tell the American people why he changed his mind about the pardon, basically because Donald Trump's about to weaponize and has announced he's going to weaponize the Department of Justice and the FBI to go after his family. That seems like a pretty credible thing. We see the cabinet picks. Should we not act like they exist? Just ignore them? There was an old joke by Jerry Seinfeld many years ago when he said, I understand, he's talking about Chinese culture and food. He goes, I understand the chopsticks. I get it. But they've seen the fork since. We've seen the cabinet picks. We're just going to act like they didn't happen? And now Scarsi's getting his pound of flesh. Here's what he wrote. First of all, he doesn't like the fact that he didn't get the pardon delivered to him on a silver tray with a wax seal or whatever he wanted, and it came through a hyperlink that he had to make a couple of clicks with his clerks. He goes on and on obsessively, like a broken record, about, oh, I didn't get the link right, and the pardon didn't come to me delivered the right way, and I hate that. And then he has a weird attack on the memo that Biden writes that he doesn't even have to write, because he doesn't like the fact that he's rewriting history. Now, the headline in a lot of newspapers is, Judge excoriates Biden because while he has got the pardon power, he doesn't have the power to rewrite history. Because he doesn't like that Biden said, it's obvious my son's getting picked on and getting made an example of because his last name is Biden. Because if his last name was like anything else, Smith or Goldberg, this wouldn't be a problem. They would have, let me remind Scarsi of something that he ignores in his own order. There was a plea deal that was on that would have resolved both the gun charge and the tax evasion charge before a federal judge in Delaware. And they were this close, right? The special counsel that was prosecuting the case was willing to accept it and drafted it. That Hunter Biden was willing to take it. I think he would have went to jail for a year or two and it would have resolved the whole effing thing. And then the Delaware federal judge says, oh, I don't like this. And there seems to be some problems with it. And maybe you guys should go back to the drawing board. And then the MAGA pressure hit from the House on the special counsel. And he was like, deal's off. We're going to try both cases. Okay. So Scarsi ignores that Hunter Biden was willing to accept responsibility and go to jail for a year or two. He just wasn't willing to go to jail for 12 years apiece because he had a drug addiction and he owned a gun for 12 days and filled out a federal form wrong. and, didn't pay his taxes, but ultimately paid them all back. And most people don't go to jail for either of those things. That's the thing that Scarsi misses when he starts taking on Joe Biden. But I digress. Let me continue with what's written here. So he doesn't like the fact that there's an allegation that Hunter was treated differently. He wasn't treated differently. The addiction is not the reason he didn't pay his taxes. He was living a grand lifestyle. So he says it's not reasonable for Biden to say that. Then he takes on Joe Biden later on in the order, basically suggesting that an aspect of the pardon is unconstitutional because it's pardoning future conduct, because he issued it on December 1st and there were still hours left on the clock on December 1st. And so there was that part of it is unconstitutional. Scarsi, why don't you go back to what you were doing before you became a federal judge, which was not criminal law or constitutional law. You were an IP and patent lawyer. Okay, go back to being intellectual property, copyright, trademark, patents, whatever you did. Because this constitutional thing where you think you're the president of the United States because you wear a black robe ain't working. Not working for me. Then he doesn't like the fact that they gave them a link to the press release and the memo and the pardon. He says, oh, sure, a press release is not a pardon. The Constitution provides the president the right to grant reprieves and pardons, but nowhere does the Constitution give the president the authority to rewrite history. Then he goes on, and I don't like the fact that I didn't get the pardon in the right format. Oh my God. This is what happens. We call it, when federal judges, and in my practice, get this way, we say they suffer from black robe disease. They get this lifetime appointment. They almost can't be ever removed. They die on the bench, and we got to suffer from it. It's gotten worse since COVID, by the way. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's all the Zoom hearings or all the whatever's going on at home at night, but they're getting worse. And now I am sure that Hunter Biden's lawyers, and he had a number of, I know a couple of them personally, I'm sure they told Joe Biden, we got a bad judge in California. We got a Trumper, a Federalist Society who's about to throw the book, who's denied all of our motions and done it in snarky ways that didn't have to be written that way, to motions to dismiss. And we think he's going to go at the upper end of the extreme and give Hunter 10 years. That sentencing was coming up in about 2 weeks, the one in Delaware too. So, the Democrats have a habit. They're always wringing their hands about something. Now they're complaining, the pardons gave license to Donald Trump to give pardons too. You don't think Donald Trump was giving out 2,000 pardons on day one? Then you're insane. It's not license. It's the proper thing to do. Throw a sharp elbow. Use every trick in the book and every rule in the book that you are empowered to do. Joe Biden's entire legacy has been sullied by the pardon. Actually, one reporter from mainstream media wrote that. Jeffrey Toobin, who I used to like, until he got caught masturbating during a Zoom conference with his New Yorker magazine colleagues and got tossed. But now he's back, passing judgment on Joe Biden's entire 50-year public body of work, because he did the right and merciful thing and handed out a pardon. I didn't hear Jeffrey Toobin criticizing the hundreds of pardons that Donald Trump gave to tax evaders, drug users, drug sellers, bad people, violent criminals. I didn't hear a peep out of it. Every president, Democrat, Republican, gets a lot of flack for their pardons. You can always pick apart, any number of them for being what you would think to be improper. But that's the president's power of clemency, of mercy, of pardon. And for him not to do it for his son, I would have thought, that confirms for me that Joe Biden is demented. They attacked during the election, during the campaign. Lights are on and nobody's home. He's got Parkinson's or the beginnings of dementia. I would have been like, this proves it. He didn't give his son the pardon. There's a lot of other people on there like Michael Cohen that need a pardon too. But by giving it and writing the memo or having the memo written for him, I'm like, all right. This is what he's got to do. I want more pardons, not less. I've called for, in hot takes, more strategic, tactical pardons. All the prosecutors, all the judges, all the FBI, all the family members, get everybody behind the protective wall and the ring fence of a pardon now. The Republicans would do it. The Republicans are going to do it. We're about to see incoming cabinet members get a pardon. Right? Most criminal president-elect we've ever had, president we've ever had, and incoming president we've ever had. Oh, I'm all fired up this morning. I'm glad you're here on Legal AF, the YouTube channel. Hit the buttons, free subscribe. We need you. I need you more than ever. Help us here grow this pro-democracy channel. And until my next report, it could be here on Legal AF, the channel. It could be on Legal AF, the podcast. I got a new show, Popok Live, every Tuesday night at 8 p.m., where I'm sitting at the intersection of law and politics just for you and for my high blood pressure. So until my next reporting, I'm Michael Popok. In collaboration with the Midas Touch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel where I'll be curating the top stories, the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe at Legal AF MTN. That's at Legal AF MTN.